I usually get it. There it is. Hello.
Yay!
Now I get a message too now that says this meeting is being live streamed. I don't remember doing that. We say this every time. I don't know. Happy 2022.
Every time. It's always brand new.
I know. It's always something else. Happy New Year. We're in 2022. Oh my gosh. And it's so close to the end of the first month already. I saw that
I know.
just looking at the whole calendar overall, and I was like, oh my gosh.
I can't believe it.
Yeah. Did you have a good holiday?
I did. Did you?
Yes, we had a really nice holiday actually, because it's like the past 2 years before this one bad, because I had cancer and I just found out, and then I just had the surgery, and it makes for a bad Christmas. And so, yeah, it was really good. It was nice. I put up decorations and we did the whole thing, presents, and Faith's family came over the night before, so we had dinner with them. That was really nice. And yeah, so it's good.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a good one.
Yeah. Did you guys just stay around there, or did you travel?
We stayed home and we had Cheryl's siblings come over. She's one of 6, so there's like a huge family.
Yeah.
Kids and grandkids and stuff. And so it was really, really nice.
Yeah.
But then everyone got sick shortly after, like
COVID sick?
Cheryl had bronchitis.
That's right.
And her sister had COVID. But we didn't get COVID. So we were like, it was just weird because we did all the testing, and I was like for sure that we were gonna have it because she had it, but we didn't have it. So
lucky.
Isn't that weird how it works?
Yeah, I think the only reason we all stayed in the clear was because when David got it, he went to a hotel and he didn't come back until he was negative.
Yeah.
I just couldn't have that in my house, and he got it away from home. He was traveling, found out he had it, came home and went right into a hotel instead of our house.
Yeah.
We never stepped foot in the house with it. So, and then Caden had a New Year's Eve party, which we were really like, should we do this? I don't know. And rolled the dice and did it, and it was fine. No one got it. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
A couple kids weren't there because they were, in the middle of it, but.
Yeah.
COVID schmovid. Are we done?
Yeah.
Gosh.
It's been so many years of this going on.
Yeah, it really has been. Keeps dragging on.
So we have Jennifer Kelly Ames. Hello, everybody.
My hair got so curly today. Look at that. I had to.
It looks so pretty.
I had to put it up. It's like really tight curls. I use a rod, and then you twist them on themselves, and they stay there. Like they're really. I need a fatter rod because it's a real tiny curl then, and I don't know. Anyway, I get a haircut Monday. I'm so excited. Just a little.
Yay! I need one too. Look at this.
That's so long.
I know. I need to get.
Wow. I need one too. I usually get.
Kelly said adorable curls to you.
Thank you. Did you get your box yet, Kelly?
Let us know. And then I'm so over COVID. Dana said, yes, me too. Ready for COVID to be over. My son and I tested positive over a week ago and I'm so tired. Oh, I'm sorry, Stephanie.
And that's what I hear a lot of people say. It's gone, but I'm so tired. Like that fatigue hangs on. So I don't know. I thought, maybe once everyone gets it, because it seems like everyone is getting it now,
Yeah,
it'll be gone, but that's not going to do it either, I don't think, because it'll mutate again. I don't really know.
Yeah, well, didn't you say like another year at least before everything
was like till it was an endemic instead of a pandemic. Yeah, but I don't know what that's still it being transferred to everyone, just 1-to-1. One person has it, gives it to one person, because right now it's like one person gives it to 4 people.
Okay,
so
well, at least we have hope, like for another year, maybe.
Yeah,
that's a long time, but at least we have something to look forward to.
Or maybe they'll develop the vaccine a little more. I don't know.
Yeah,
that came out in such a rush. Maybe it wasn't, perfected. I don't really know. I haven't read much about that.
Oh, Kelly said, thank you so much for the books, Victoria. I will cherish my whole life. I can't even tell you what this meant to me. You're amazing.
Aw.
Oh.
Well, I'm glad you got them.
Okay, so our mystery author is in the room.
Dun,
So
dun.
should I introduce?
Yeah,
her?
let's go.
Okay. Our mystery guest tonight is the author of the New York Times and international best-selling Stark series of erotic romances featuring deeply complicated and damaged characters who truly are each other's lobsters. In parentheses, she rewatched Friends before writing this bio. In addition, she writes romantic suspense, including a Stark spinoff, paranormal women's fiction, paranormal romance, a bit of romantic comedy, and more. As of her most recent count, she's written 173 books over her career and pretty much needs a nap. Lately, she's added screenwriting to the mix. She's a former lawyer and film school grad, lives in Central Texas.
I know who it is.
You do? Drinks too much coffee, stays up too late, and thinks the new world in which a season of TV drops all in one day is the best thing ever. Please welcome Julie Kenner.
Julie Kenner. Julie Kenner.
Yay.
I see your little pro pic, but not you yet. Come on.
Give me a second. I have to find the right button. There it is. I found it. Hey,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm good. I don't think I've ever seen you with dark hair like that.
I think. Maybe not.
Oh, there you are. I love the yellow. You see my orange?
I do.
I like a bright office.
Hey, I like the shark about to bite your head
Yeah,
off.
yeah. My nickname is Shark from like my whole marriage. And then, we have this Shark's Edge series going too. So it's like,
Right. Yeah.
Sharks are everywhere. They were pretty
I
much
love it.
everywhere before, but now it's really, really going on. So
I love it.
yeah.
Love it.
Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Did you have a good holiday?
Yeah, it was fun. It was very laid back. It's very chill around my
Yeah.
house. We have a very small family. So
Yeah.
this year we actually all drew names. So it was super low stress.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so
We finally
we walked around on Square, saw the lights.
Nice.
Yeah.
We finally went to all the nieces and nephews that are over 18, no more gifts. They're done, because there's too many and all the time. And then it was like we're just trading gift cards. When the
Yeah, it's
kids
like-
go, they just want
like-
gift cards.
Happy growing up. Sorry,
Yeah.
no more presents for you.
Right. The real world now. People can do things.
Chop chop, get with the program.
Yeah, get it done. Oh, so what else is going on? You're busy. 170.
I know, right? I counted them. I don't know what possessed me to count them. Actually, I do. I was trying to update my, these are my books list and everything. Now that includes everything, like lots of stuff that's not in print anymore because it was like a million years ago and yada yada. But yeah, and shorter stuff too. So I counted novellas as books.
Yeah.
If it requires plotting, it's a book.
Yeah.
So it includes like the 30,000 stuff and the 120,000 stuff. I figured
Right.
it all averages out. But yeah, so it's like I'm like, okay, well maybe I have an excuse to be tired. I'm gonna go take a nap.
Definitely.
But then I see people who've been in the business a lot less time than me who started in indie and they're like, they've cracked that 100 mark right off the bat. I'm like,
Yeah.
God, I'm such a slacker. Who
We
knew?
had, Kay Webster on, and she
Yeah.
was saying, she wrote like 40 books in a year or something ridiculous. I was like,
Mhm.
what? And she's like, well, I have anxiety. And she's like, I'm like, okay. I don't know
It's
how.
a lot. It
That's
is
like
a
no
lot.
sleep. That's more than 5,000 words a day. Easy.
I wrote in 2018, I wrote 12 books for the Man of the Month series. Although I think I wrote the first one in December. So that one didn't, so 11 books I wrote. And then, but those weren't my only releases. I think I had 2 Stark releases that year and then another novella.
Mhm.
And that year, so that's only, like less than maybe 15 books. But
Right.
I think it was 18 books. I have in my head, I wrote 18 books in
Wow.
2018. And it broke me. That year just, it broke me. I was like, I was a broken hunk of gobbledygook on the floor that year. It was, and I can't do it anymore. It's like, it literally broke me. It's like, I can't Because there was a while there when I did some of my best writing in the middle of the night because the house is quiet,
right.
And now it's like, no, I think I'm going to go sleep.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen. That's just going to happen.
Bad sleeping life. And so I usually get up at like 3 a.m. and start there, then because I have a full-time day job. So if I can get my writing quota done before I even go to work in the morning, then when I get home, I don't have to sit back down and, try. That's just keep on schedule. So I don't know.
Yeah. I admire you. I remember the day job and writing time, and it was hard.
It is hard.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you, I work with my family. My husband and I own the business, and then our son and his girlfriend work here too. So all the people that live in my house, we work together. And this is where I see them, because when I go home, I have to, hunker down.
Right.
Right. So.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's actually kind of nice then.
Yeah, it works out.
Then you at least then it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, right now we've got, you're asking how I've got COVID in the house. So that's super fun. I'm sitting here sniffling going, please be allergies. Because it's been a week now. My daughter was diagnosed on Friday. We're pretty sure, what's today? I don't even know. Saturday. So a week ago, Friday.
Oh yeah.
And so we're pretty sure she got it on Wednesday. And then so she's been like in quarantine in her room for the full 10 days that the school system requires here. And but my husband got it too. And my daughter, Kitty, my daughter's been fine from like day 2, poor kid, and my husband is just not doing well at all. I mean, it's not scary bad. It's not like it was early days, but, and now I'm sitting here going, oh my God. My other daughter and I have been so careful and nursing, but we're nursing them, we're taking stuff to them, and, and so it's like, and now my nose is running, and I'm like, please no. I've taken the test. I've taken the test twice. It was negative both times. So last time was before yesterday, because that was like the right exposure time.
Right.
But I'm like, I don't have time to be sick. You don't understand. I do not have the hours to allocate for being sick.
Yeah, I didn't factor this into my schedule. So my husband had it right at Thanksgiving. He spent Thanksgiving in a hotel because I didn't let him back in the house because he was traveling when he got it. And then he came home and right to a hotel for 2 weeks. Because I was just,
Yeah, it's like, it's don't want it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, my husband's been living in his man cave, and my daughter's been living in her room, and we have been leaving food outside their door, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We were even
like,
doing
I'm
that
sorry.
at the hotel. Yeah. Leaving the care packages for him down at the bottom of the driveway. Like, just pick it up down there. You need more clothes. Because he felt fine. He could drive, he could do everything, but couldn't come back to work.
I feel for you guys. My husband does not feel fine. So he's right above me in his office. I can hear him like hacking and coughing. It's like, honey, are you doing okay up there?
That cough lingered a long time for my husband. Like maybe 2 weeks ago it stopped, and that was Thanksgiving. So, 2 months of that, but anyway.
So I found, and I did not even think to screenshot it, but I was looking for something in my phone photos from a long time ago. And I found that picture we took in
San Diego.
West Coast, that restaurant that we went to, Gladstone.
I know it's called Costa Terra.
Okay, I don't remember, but but we
delicious.
right outside. It was right outside of the restaurant. I think we took it in the parking lot. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. When I run across it again, I'll send it to you. It was adorable. It was actually an adorable picture.
A shot of Angel and I from that day. But that was neat to see you guys. You were all here for RWA, right? Yeah. That's a good restaurant. I'm supposed to be doing a signing like the 17th or something of February. Down right in that area at a hotel right across from the airport. So I don't
one
know.
Of the group signings, like one of the ones where there's a whole bunch of authors coming for those kind of signings, since it's at a hotel.
Bunch of authors, and she's canceled it twice, I think. Just when the governor says no, then it's no. And so people have lost so much money doing that, but oh my gosh. So I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. I don't know.
I know. Well, stay healthy.
Yeah.
No fun.
It's all we can do. So tell me what else is going on.
Writing, doing a lot of
Writing.
writing. So yeah, I've got I wrote the last book in the Nikki and Damien series, because there came a point where, you know, they're married, they have kids. I cannot keep, these people need to have
They
a
need a
good
break.
time, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but I said when I did that, this is the last full-length novel. I mean, I love these characters so
Yeah.
much. They are definitely my top 1 and 2 to write. I love them, and my Demon Hunting Soccer Mom series are the ones that I have the most fun with. And
Yeah.
so I told people, you know, they're still going to be getting Christmas stories and, you know, holiday novellas and things like that. But then I was hanging around just thinking about stuff, as one does. And readers are always asking me to do like the first 3 books in the trilogy, which were totally from Nikki's point of view in first person.
Yeah.
In
From-
Damien's, you know,
Yeah.
just flip it to Damien's. And I'm like, no, you know, that doesn't actually interest me because I've already told that story, you know. But then I thought of something that is close to that. And so anybody that's like actually watching this who, you know, knows me might be, I put out a notice on Twitter and stuff saying, you know, sign up for my newsletter because I have an announcement coming. So I'm really excited about this idea that I have. So but I haven't put anything up for pre-order yet or anything. But
Right.
it's really fun when you get an idea for something that you kind of has been in the back of your mind. You're like, I can't find a way in. And then you're like, oh wait, that's the way in.
Yep.
How
You
fun
just
is
hold it
that?
there, like, I'm gonna get to you. Don't worry. It's gonna come.
Yeah. And then I've got another idea for a really awesome, well, I hope it'll turn out to be really awesome. You know, everything is awesome in my head, you know.
Of course.
It's so fabulous in your head. But for a really sexy, angsty, super fun trilogy of 3 guys whose lives are intertwined, that and one of them is a character they've met before, so for a
Right.
spinoff. So that'll be fun, and that'll be like next year. I don't even know what year it is. Yeah, next
Me
year,
too.
I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know where we are anymore. I really and truly don't. I have to think about it every time someone asks me what day it is. And then I've got a couple of things going on. I you know, knock wood, we'll see if anything happens. I have one book series that is in development as a TV show, which would be super fun if that happens.
Yeah.
And then I have a pilot that I wrote that ties in with another book series. It's not currently on sale, but I got the rights back and I'm rewriting them. And I'm going to be putting them out. That has a producer attached. So again, you know,
Yeah.
it's that world. So who knows? But it's really fun. I was a film major, so it's fun to even
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
pretend like I'm playing in that pond again.
Right.
You know, it's like, you know, film school. Woohoo! I've never done anything with it. Not really.
No,
So
you
that's
were
a
just
lot
a
of fun.
lawyer, so you know.
I was just a lawyer. Yeah.
Locker.
This is more fun. But,
So
you know,
how
yeah,
does it
writing.
differ, the screenwriting compared to a novel?
It's a lot different, especially for me. I write really deep inside characters' heads. That's just sort of my style. I don't always, and I haven't always. I've written like really light rom-coms where it's much more dialogue driven than interior stuff, but I really love getting into like angsty characters and getting really deep into their damage and stuff, and you know, and putting that on the page as prose. So my books sometimes they can be, the story can be fast-paced, but the language is kind of languid, and especially for the sexier books, because I just like that feel.
Right.
Yeah, that's not what you want in a script. You know,
No.
you need to not have that description. You know, you need everything you have on the page needs to, you know, be visual.
Right.
It needs to be able to be translated visually. And you know, honestly, some of the favorite scripts that I read, because I read a lot of screenplays, I always have. I've got a whole collection from like 2 decades because I just collect them because I'm weird that way. My favorite ones are in the kind of the J.J. Abrams, Shane Black kind of school of thought, where they would put in kind of like, you know, oh my God, we're all, you know, sometimes they'll even say we. So I like reading those because they keep me engaged.
Right.
But, you know, from a technical standpoint, you really don't want that in there. So I tend to do that, and then I have to go back and like whack the shit out of it to like really try to pare it down and be like, you know, hints for the actor and stuff. But it's fascinating though, because I've always told people when I teach writing classes, which I don't do nearly enough because I actually enjoy it, but that I've always thought of writing as like acting for non-actors, because
Right.
I would not want to be an actor.
Acting
You could not,
it out,
you literally couldn't pay me to be an actor. I would shrivel up and die. But you pour all of yourself out there onto the page,
Right.
and I don't know about you, but I'll realize I'm like talking, I'm like arguing in the scene. I'm like, I
Yeah.
look like a crazy person
There's
if
a
I'm
whole
in the
thing
house
going on.
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So it's really fun to kind of get into that mindset too. And I think nowadays, um, I'm not going to change my writing style, at least not for a certain type of book, but I do think that that's more of the trend these days in books, is you have that, especially with rom-com becoming so
Right.
popular again.
Right.
Probably because of the state of the world, that you
Right.
have that kind of faster pace, less description, more back and forth with the dialogue thing
Right.
anyway. So it's interesting too. And it's made me think, well, that could be a kind of a fun way to write a book too. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
I
So
enjoy it. I
interesting.
enjoy it.
So really dialogue, and then no direction, stage direction, actions for the actor to do, like stand up and walk over there, talk,
No,
like,
you have that too, but if it has to be visual. You don't want interior office day, Francie sits at her desk,
Right. Right.
and then if Francie is grumpy, I mean, you could say Francie is grumpy, but it's better to describe it like she bangs on her keyboard instead. So you're like signaling that she's grumpy.
well,
And then
so it's still the show don't tell.
exactly, it's still show don't. That's exactly what it is. It's show don't tell at an extreme. It's
Yeah.
show don't tell, because you really can't. I mean, certain little, especially in character descriptions, you can a little bit. You could be like, a jaded, lifetime office worker or something. Well, you can't really show that. So you can tell it so that the actor knows kind of who that person is.
Right.
But then for the most part, you want it just in the description. And that is usually my biggest note when I get, people to read for me before I like try to send something out in the world. It's like, you do a little bit too much. And it's like, I know. This is like, this is just the first pass. I'm going to trim all that out, but I have to have it there for me to know the characters. And then it just gets whacked away in the.
So interesting. It feels like it would be something missing because I'm so used to doing it, in the way we do it for novels. It would seem like,
it's a completely different beast. It's a different beast. Yeah, it really is. And then sometimes I watch things, and I was watching Station 11. I started watching that last night. Have you seen it?
I don't have TV at all, so I don't.
Oh, well, then it would be very hard for you to see it. But it's a really good show. It takes place during. It's based on a book, and it's after a flu devastates the entire world. So,
yeah,
maybe some people don't want to watch it. Whatever. Anyway, I thought it was fascinating. But there were things that they did in there, and it's interesting now because I find myself, since I've started, playing on the, writing screenplays, and I've always kind of fiddled around with them to actually getting serious about it and telling people I'm getting serious about it. I'll be like, gee, I wonder what that looked like on the page, and I'm like sitting there trying to find the PDF of the pilot that's not there. And I'm like, I want to read it.
That would be me digging into it more. Definitely. It's just interesting. I don't think I've talked to anyone that's written a screenplay before. No, it's so neat. Just, hear how it changes over.
I played around with it for many years. And right about the time that Release Me came out, I can't remember exactly what the timing was. I wrote a high fantasy not a high fantasy, but a sci-fi fantasy screenplay with a friend of mine, and we got a lot of traction on it. So that was a lot of fun too. It was a great idea, and we got really some great meetings. We met with the producer of Twilight. We had a meeting with him, and Seth Grahame-Smith, who did he was doing with David Katzenberg. They formed a production company, and so we had meetings with them. So it was really fun. We got a lot of traction for it. But that's the thing in Hollywood, you get traction and then nothing happens.
And it stops there.
Yeah. In the book world at the time, that was also the case because indie hadn't really existed yet. It was just getting off its feet. You can write a whole book and then nothing happens to it. Nowadays, you can at least do something with your product. If there's very few people who have the capability to take a screenplay and then
make a show out of it.
and make something out of it. I mean, it's an expensive process, you know.
It sure is. We did that, went on the set with the Passion Flicks
That's
ladies.
right. I remember
It
seeing
was
that.
so fascinating to me
Yeah.
because I'd seen things taped before, game shows and stuff. I mean, living out here near Los Angeles, it's so much stuff, but that was so neat to see. And then Tosca was letting us watch on her thing and what she was, it was cool. Like just to see
That's
how the whole
very
thing
cool.
comes together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then watch it when the movie came out. It was like, that's me. I'm right there because I was in it. So it was fun.
That's a
Yeah.
super fun experience. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
when
yes,
you did that. I think
Yeah.
did you y'all posted some pictures, right? After the either
Yeah,
after the fact or during. Yeah. That was really cool.
It
That's
was
so
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Good times. I don't know what else is going on. So what are you writing now? Are you doing the screenplay thing or a book?
Right now, I'm actually doing both. I'm finishing a book because I've got some revisions on it, and then I owe the producer I was talking about a story Bible so we can pitch it. I need to put which is basically like a synopsis if you were selling trad, but it'll also do pretty in-depth character sketches, which I never do with my synopses. I don't know about you. I would say just a few paragraphs and then
Yeah, no. Yeah.
here's the story. So I owe him that and a couple of minor revisions on the screenplay. This is like round 4, I think. And then fingers crossed, we'll see what happens next. And so I need to, and then I was almost done with the book, was about to send it to my editor, realized I need to change some things. And then, COVID exploded my household. So everything is like, I can't it's like, there's no focus. So this week has been hard trying to get through everything, but I'm working on those 2 things. And then I've got a pretty full slate. This was going to be my year of lay back and write at a really slow, leisurely pace. And no. Does that happen to you? Where you think it's going to be this kind of calm year and then suddenly it's like you're just running around with your hair on fire?
My life has always been like that. When we had our daughter, we didn't know she was going to be severely disabled. So that was like, here, surprise. And
That's
then
hard.
that's always been a wild card in our life. And then owning a business is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And we're a manufacturer. So there's so many things about this pandemic that affect business right now. And it's
I bet.
unbelievable. So we're always, hopping around here too. And then I got cancer. So it's like
I
can't.
heard. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's all gone. It's better. It's better. Thank God. Thank God I was one that got.
That's so scary.
Yeah, it was no fun. But yeah, and then right after I think I had my last reconstruction surgery with the mask on. COVID was just coming, like where they were masking everybody. And I think I did my radiation with mask, but so it's been right from cancer to COVID. So it's like too many years of being worried about things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
you deserve a
so
break.
life is always like crazy on fire, but I prefer that. I prefer that pace because I don't know if it's the writer brain or I don't know what. I start really getting like going in there. You know what I mean? Like it's too much head time. So I need to stay busy and putting it out, the energy, and not keeping it in because
Yeah. I think that must be me too, because otherwise I would not have filled up the schedule. I mean, it wasn't like Gremlins came in the middle of the night and added things to my writing schedule. It's like, I did this. I know I did.
Do you have a hard time saying no? Is that?
Oh, I have a terrible time. Although I'm getting a little bit better at it. I've actually, I cannot remember who asked me to do something recently. And I wrote them back and I literally said, I have such a hard time saying no, that is my goal for this year. So I'm really sorry. Ask me again next year.
Yeah, but right now,
no.
I
can't do it. But right now I can't. And she wrote me back and she said, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Like,
did it feel good? Like to do that? You take it on? Or were you like,
felt weird, because I do have such a hard time saying no. But there comes a point where, I mean, especially if you're running a business and on the book side, I mean, there are only so many hours in the day and you have to protect the work. You can't just pull stuff out of thin air and magically expect it to do that. And you know, I will literally stay up all night working on something to get it right. And I've done that for a very long time. I mean, I was trained to do that when I was working in, I started my career in the second biggest law, well, first on the federal circuit court. So appellate court, which is the circuit court. And that my judge was really intense. So we would stay as late as we needed to stay to get the briefs written. And then I went to the,
I'll be right back. It's just going, I gotta activate. It's motion detector, you know? and-
oh, is it your alarm?
Yeah.
Oh,
It shuts off.
no. Oh.
About that.
But yeah, I was at the second biggest law firm in the country. And, you know, the culture there, especially in the 80s, I assume
Oh,
it's the same
yeah.
now, was, you know, we were there 24 hours a day if we needed to be there 24 hours a day. And they would give us taxi vouchers to go home so we wouldn't die because we were so tired.
Right.
And they delivered all our meals to us. So, I mean, it was one firm I interviewed at even showed me the cots they had set up for the attorneys to sleep in. And I was like, you know, what
No,
am I getting in here? But,
yeah,
but so I, you know, so that's normal to me, but I do it in my books too. I will stay up all night editing. I'll stay up all night revising, you know, and it takes a toll after a while. It
Oh,
really
yeah.
does,
Yeah.
you know, but it feels natural. And then if I'm not doing it, it's like, I
Yeah.
guess I'm just faffing about or something. And that doesn't
when I
feel
have
right.
like I hand a manuscript in and then there's that just little period between that and then edits or getting started on the next one, I'm like, I don't know what's going, what are we doing? You know, I just
know,
feel like
right?
I need-
Like-
what am I supposed to do with my free time? Because none of us watch TV. Well, the kids kind of do, but they do like Netflix and Apple TV.
Mhm.
But so there's no cable at my house. We have TVs sitting there, but they're just like furniture. And so that's just not a thing. Like, I don't just go hang out and watch a show because people like put on Food Network. I'm like, no, not gonna do. I used to like Food Network, but we decided to just get rid of the TV because we weren't watching it. We went a whole year, like from one Super Bowl to the next. That's all we watched, the Super Bowl. And we're not even sports fans, but Super Bowl looks amazing on high def TV.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm not a
crazy.
sports fan either, but my husband will watch it every once in a while, and we have a high def, and yeah,
Yeah.
it does look, but it's like, wow, that's almost too sharp. That's
Yeah,
so
you're
weird.
right
'cause-
there.
Yeah, I grew up with a lot of grain. That looks very weird.
Yeah. So, well, the rabbit ears, remember those?
Oh yes, yes.
Somebody was saying something the other day, and I dated myself. So, it might have been like a rotary phone or something. I don't know, but
There is the best. If you have not watched it, it's Louis C.K., that comedian. I think he had a TV show for a while, but see, you can get it on YouTube, so you don't have to go to a television. But he did a routine. I think it was on no, it wasn't Letterman. It doesn't matter what show it was on. It was one of those late night shows.
Yeah.
And it's called Everything's Amazing, but Everyone's Unhappy or something like that. You have to Google it and watch this thing. It cracks me up every time because he's talking about, well, literally like everyone's like sitting there and, you know, they dial their phone and the signal doesn't happen right away. He's like, it has to go into space.
right.
When I was a kid, you hated people with zeros in their phone number because you had to go chung, 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 chung.
Right.
I was like, this is so right. This is so right. It's hysterical. It's really very funny. I highly recommend it.
I'll have to check that out. We were on vacation somewhere and they had a payphone. It was a different country, you know, like
Right.
Dominican Republic or something. No, it was Puerto Rico. And my son is now 21, but he was like, what is that? What is it? I said, it's a payphone. I'm like, I think we made a phone call from it just so he could see how it worked and stuff. Because
That's hysterical.
yeah. Although now
When
I don't think you put change in. It's all like,
I think it's all cards
Yeah.
now. Yeah. When my what was I gonna say? Oh, when my husband he works with me now, but before he was an elementary school librarian for a K through 12 private schools. He was
Right.
K through 12. But anyway, and we used to collect antique typewriters, and he has terrible allergies. I have bad allergies, and we finally decided they were collecting too much dust. So we got rid of most of the collection, and he took 4 or 5 of the coolest, oldest ones and put them on shelves at the library, right?
Yeah.
So we had like an old Remington, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, and the kids one day were looking at him and going, Mr. Kenner, what is that? And he's like, that's a typewriter.
yeah.
And they're like,
What?
so he brought one down and put it on the table, you know,
Yeah.
and so that's how people used to write books. they didn't believe him. They're like, no way. I mean, they were just, their little minds were blown. It was
Right.
crazy. It was so funny. And he was just gobsmacked that they had no clue. But,
It's funny.
you know, yeah.
When my son was little, we have a ridiculous amount of record albums. My
Hmm.
husband's father collected them and then sent them all to us. But
Wow.
we don't throw them away because we're like, maybe there's an Elvis one in there, like in its original
Yeah.
package.
Yeah.
Just leave it there. But so my son was little and he goes, look at this big compact disc, or he said CD, but because he thought it was just a giant
Mhm.
CD. It's funny.
Nowadays, vinyl is really popular. We had some for a while, and my husband finally sold it, thinking it would never come back. And now it's
Yeah.
back, and he's like, "Why didn't I keep it all?" Because I'm not. I was never into records. I'm not. I was
Yeah.
like Broadway musical girl. That was about all I cared
Yeah.
about. And
Yeah.
but he had tons. He came into our marriage with a huge album collection, and now he's like, every time we go to a store and they're like selling vinyl again, he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I got rid of it.
Uh,
It would come back."
send him over. I'll entertain him for.
Yeah, right.
There's so many albums in there. A long time ago, like before I had kids, I was gonna catalog them all, so we knew. It never happened.
Yeah.
Like I set up the database. This is when you had to write the database first. Like there was only 2 programs that did
Right.
database, and you had to like personalize it, and yeah. So
Yeah, guys, every time I have these conversations, I'm like, oh my God, I'm turning into my grandparents. They're like, well, back in my day.
Remember when?
Don't you remember when? Like, oh well, but I mean, it really has changed. I think the world has changed. Well, maybe it hasn't. I don't know. It feels like it's changed more from the time that, I at least was in like junior high to when my kids were in junior high, then that gap in any other period in history, just because of
well, it was the
technology.
Industrial
I mean,
Revolution.
yeah. I
And-
mean, in my life, I went from rotary phones to push button phones
Cell phone,
to those brick cell phones,
right?
where you're like lugging
It
around.
was in a
thing.
suitcase.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it cost you a gazillion. When I was in California, I lived in California during the Rodney King riots.
Oh yeah.
And
I came here that like 2 days after I got
Yeah.
off the plane in Ontario, and I was like, what is gonna want to be here?
I was working, it was my first day on the job in Century City, and they let us go home early because the city
Yeah.
was burning.
Yeah.
I didn't know which way to go out the parking structure.
Yeah.
So instead, these were if anybody watched Remington Steel back in the day, these were the Remington Steel towers.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I went out the wrong way. So I'm going the wrong way to get to Santa Monica Boulevard. So I had to go all the way around the building. It took me 2 hours to go 3 blocks. And then I lived in the valley. So I took Sepulveda to Mulholland.
Right.
I was literally in the car for 8 hours between the office and just getting to Mulholland Drive. So I called my mother back in Texas on my giant brick of a cell phone,
Yeah.
which was brand new. That was back when you had to pay for a long distance. It was like a $900 phone bill. And the only reason I didn't like literally go bankrupt then was because I didn't have a car charger. So I talked to her and then it died, and I'm
Right.
still sitting there, not even.
Oh,
It was crazy. It was crazy. And then I watched the city burning on both sides, the valley, and that was crazy pants.
Crazy. I was
Crazy
down
days.
here in San Diego, so it wasn't
Uh-huh.
up in LA. Well, so it wasn't like dangerous, but it was happening right there, and
Yeah,
started
yeah,
doing
no, it's scary.
copycat things. Well, we've seen that how many times since then, where there's events like that where people just go nuts and then start acting out and
Yeah.
martial law or whatever. It's too much. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we normally talk here like we have been, and then Megan has questions that the
Yay.
viewers have been asking, and that's I like doing it this way better. So I'm just like focused on chatting with you, and then because I cannot watch all those comments go by.
No, I was
I
going to
get
say
so
that's the hard
distracted.
part about doing
Yeah.
like live chats is you're
Yeah.
trying to split your brain, and I always sound like I'm more spazzier than I actually am. So
I get so distracted, so I'll be like reading them, and I'm like, oh hey, sorry, we're talking still. Yeah. So this.
all right,
What do you
go
got?
for it.
Megan?
Hi, Julie. Thank you for coming on.
sure.
It's
Thank
been
you
nice
for having me
communicating
and,
with you.
and seeing your kitty.
Yeah,
across
she's
the
always,
screen.
every time we do this, she comes up and is like all over me, and she doesn't do that any other time. So,
She's a star.
Um,
I have that same cart that's behind you. The
Oh, you
container
do?
store cart. Yeah, you can even see it right there, the pink one.
How
Oh
funny.
yeah, I
And I
love it.
actually have the green one too over here. I love it. Anyway, sorry, that's probably not anyone's question.
Is that Wayfair?
It's Container Store.
Oh,
Or at
I
least
got
mine
mine at
is.
Michael's.
nice.
Okay, so this is usually where we start. Everyone has this question. Julie, where do we start with your books? Like a new reader who hasn't
So,
ever had anything
if-
of yours.
If you like Super Steamy Sexy, which I'm guessing you do if you're here, then you want to start with Release Me. It is far and away my most popular series. It's a billionaire book and it's a trilogy. It started as a trilogy. It's now got a lot more books than that. I think there's 7 novels and about a dozen novellas that kind of fit in between. But they're really fun. Damien is totally swoon worthy, if I do say so myself, and fans love them. If you are a reader who wants something light and no sex but lots of fun times, then My Demon Hunting Soccer Mom is always what I recommend to people. Your kids can even read that one. Back when I first started the series, I had middle grade readers who thought it was a hoot. And the first one is called Carpe Demon.
They're great titles, all of them.
They are fun.
Yeah, so many people were saying they love Nikki and Damien. And I just wrote that down because I was like, okay, I will mention that.
That is where to
Sharon
start, I
wants
think.
to know, Julie, any chance to bring back the men from your Wanted series? I miss Evan Black.
You know, I love those guys so much. They won't have their own books just because I have discovered that it is really, really difficult with the books that started in traditional publishing to move them over to indie and get stuff to work the way it needs to work. But I do tend to I will put characters in as secondary characters, like Dallas from the Dirtiest trilogy. He and Jane have been in Stark Security, and they've popped into some of the Nikki and Damien books. So they probably won't have their own book unless maybe I just did a novella or something for fun. But I have so much on my plate that the odds are low. But I am the series that I mentioned with the 3 guys that's coming in, that I expect to come in 2023, is going to have kind of the same vibe. So look for that. And I'll subscribe to my newsletter, and then you'll
Cool.
know
Yeah.
all the stuff. But
We'll
I
put all
love
that
the most.
stuff. Yeah, and at the
Yeah.
end of this chat, we'll put all of your social links and all that stuff so people can check
Awesome.
it out.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, I love the Most Wanted guys, and they do need more. They need more airtime, even if they don't have more stories on their own. So never say never. I'm also toying with the idea. I mean, if I say this publicly, I'll probably never do it, and then I'll be annoyed with myself for saying it publicly. But I've toyed with the idea of doing a Patreon for things. Patreon? I don't know.
Yeah.
For one or the other. For all of the things that I can't really quite justify doing, like a book for, and all the promotion stuff, but that people want, and so that gives them a way to get it and me a way to do it, because I fall in love with my characters and I want to give them more stories. And then
Even if you just
for
have
various
like a scene
reasons,
behind that didn't fit into one of
Yeah.
the, but it would be so fun to do this, or
yeah, exactly.
you wrote it and it got
exactly.
cut out, but you don't want to throw it away.
Yeah,
one of the
so
first
I've been playing with the idea, but I also don't want to start it and then not populate it. So I have to make, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, random side note. There we go.
Patreon is a great platform. I think you should totally do it.
I'm thinking about it. I really am. But like I said, I want to make sure I have content, and I'm going to do it regularly, because otherwise, what's the point? So I got to.
It's one more.
Brittany wants to know, Julie, what is your favorite part of screenwriting?
Oh, golly. Weirdly, it's kind of exactly what Victoria and I were talking about. It's this fascination with telling stories in a different way, but you're still telling stories, and it's a frustrating thing because I can't be the one who makes the decision as to whether or not it's actually going to get on screen, because I do not have a war chest of millions of dollars sitting behind me for production and distribution. But just having it out there and knowing that it's a blueprint for something that's collaborative, because I actually do like working collaboratively, and the book is really more all mine, because even though you have an editor, even when I've had very intense editors, like I had an editor at Pocket who was just really down and dirty into the books, and she was great to work with, but it was all completely mine. But with a screenplay, you let it go and it kind of morphs into something else. And that's kind of magical, So I like that in theory, and in the writing of it, I like doing something different. I like challenging myself to pare it down that way.
That was my answer in my head. If I
Yeah.
were you, I would say that would be it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I like the challenge of it. I like the fact that it's something a little different. It starts making you think a little bit outside the box. And so it's it kind of keeps the creative juices flowing on both sides. When I'm working on a screenplay, I find myself having lots of book ideas, and vice versa. So
I would think a lot of the Hollywood people that you deal with are good book inspirations. The characters.
I think they would be. That's not really my vibe for writing. And sometimes I wish it was, because I was like, man, this would make a cool story.
Yeah. I'll take a little piece of it, put it, but not like,
yeah.
My husband was asking me the other day, it's so funny. He's like, are any of these men based on me? And I said, no. I said, but I have to tell you, there's no character that I've ever written that was based on a real person. Like, I didn't take someone I knew and made them into a book character ever. Like, I'll get little pieces of something or a weird thing somebody said or whatever, something I saw, but I've never done that, like taken a real person where, like your mother-in-law is going, oh my God, I know that's me. What are you, no.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. I don't think I could, because I'd be afraid that they would go, that's me. And I'd be like,
I know. Yeah. Oh.
That's so funny, because someone just asked if anyone was based from real people in your life.
They're not. Nope. Nobody's based on real people in my life. Oh, actually, sort of. I'll take it back a little bit. In the Demon Hunting Soccer Mom books, the kids in the books are very loosely based on my kids, because they were the kids that I knew to write. And so my oldest, the little boy, Timmy, was these books. I wrote, the first book came out in like 2005, I think. So they're old. And my daughter was little, my oldest daughter was little. And then years later, when I was still writing the books, because I got the rights back after a while and I continued the series, we had adopted my youngest daughter. And so she became the inspiration for Timmy, and my oldest daughter became the inspiration for the 14-year-old in the book.
Right.
So a little bit there. So that's probably the closest that I've ever had anybody inspired by anyone else. There was one throwaway character that I put in a book once, and I honestly don't even remember what the book was. There was a guy one time that I met in a car rental place in Los Angeles.
Right.
And I never saw him again in my life. He rented me a car and that was it. And I swear to God, he was the hottest guy I have ever seen in my life.
How funny. Working.
Yeah. And yeah. So I mean, so he had like he's not a car guy, but this is that guy in my head was just like, some random hot guy in one of my books. And I can't remember which one. But
realize I do have a character that is based on a real person. It's Max Stone. He's a neurosurgeon in Secrets of Stone, like the last two that are out right now. And he is based on my actual neurosurgeon that did 3 of my 5 back surgeries. This guy, he's so the real doctor. He's like eccentric, I guess you could say, but he's a doctor. He comes into surgery, he's got magenta cowboy boots on and like 3 watches, and it's always crazy.
Surgeons are so funny. A really good friend of mine is a surgeon, and I love her to death, but I just could not do that. But my daughter was born with a cleft lip and palate, so she's had surgeries throughout her whole life, and so what we were at a couple of years ago, we were at one of her pre-surgery appointments, and the doctor came to her and goes, so what did you do this summer? And she's like, well, we went to like Disney when that was really super fun. And he's like, and so how was St. Louis? And she looked at me and I'm just like, and afterwards we were all in the car going, and she's like, what, was he not paying attention? It's like, no, he's a great surgeon. That's why he's a great surgeon, because he's always Honestly, he's not a people person.
Right.
His mind is off doing surgery somewhere,
Yeah.
but it's okay. And she's like, so we laugh about that because it's happened like 3 times now. But
That's
he
so-
really is. He's a great surgeon, but I think all surgeons are a little eccentric.
and he blows into the room like, he comes into the
Yeah.
shop,
And
and papers are flying just about, and he's like writing in a Sharpie marker in the chart. And it's like, it's real big, and I'm like, this guy, so I think Angel met him because she came to the hospital, I don't know how many different times to see me at this point in our life. And I think she met him and she's like, oh God, this guy, and I said, oh, I've been telling you.
he has to be in a book. He has to be in a book.
So that is, his whole demeanor is that character. I don't know how
I
forgot.
love it.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay, this question is for both of you. Which book were you most excited about going to print?
oh my goodness.
That's a tough one, right?
It's tough.
About going to print. I'm gonna have to go with Nobody Does It Better because it was my first.
Yeah.
It would have to be that. It was a Harlequin
Only have your first
Temptation.
one. Yep.
Yeah, you only get your first one once.
My first one that I wrote myself completely with just my name on it was Misadventures with a Book Boyfriend. So that one is always super special.
Uh-huh.
Story wise, I was so, plus it happened at a crazy cancer time in my life, Grant's Heat, because I wrote it when all that was going on. There's so much emotion in that book because
Right.
it was coming out. So yeah, I think that's a tie for me on those two.
Good question though. I don't think I've ever gotten that one before.
Oh,
Julie Kelly wrote this, and it's so sweet I have to read it. I just wanted you to know that Damien Stark trilogy really changed me, brought such an amazing escape and feeling of acceptance, a beautifully written story from beginning to end, and all the sexy in between.
Oh, I love that.
I know. I was like, I have to read that out loud.
Thank you.
Okay. I hate to ask this because I hate to put you both on the spot, but I will because someone asked it. Is there any chance of a collaboration between you two?
we never even talked about that.
Well, yeah, we've never talked about it. I mean, I'm certainly not opposed to it,
No.
but it's like, let's look at the calendar and see when
Right.
2030 we
Right.
both have time.
Right, when you're not committed already. Have you co-written with anyone before?
The closest I have come to co-writing with somebody is my friend Dee Davis and I had an idea many years ago about TV you read. And so I had this idea of crafting a world about a small town. And then there would be, this is like my TV stuff coming in. And so, and then it's like, it would be like a TV show. And so we would follow a story and focus on different characters each time, but there'd be an overarching story arc about a death. How did this person die?
Right.
And I realized that it was too big for me. And so I asked my bestie, Dee Davis, who writes suspense. Actually, she's mostly retired, kind of sort of retired now, but she writes awesome suspense and we used to be critique partners. And so I was like, I got this idea. Tell me if it's crazy or not. And she loved it. And so then we pitched it to 1001 Dark Nights, Evil Eye, and Liz loved it. So what we ended up doing was we created the world together. We came up with, I had the vague idea of the town and the story, and we really narrowed it down. She and I created the whole town, and she even drew like maps because that's who she is, which I think is awesome, which is great when we were working together. And then the idea was that we would be the showrunners, and we would have a writer's room. So we actually created a website that was the writer's room and everything. And Dee and I outlined each episode and the overarching story arc. And then we reached out to authors, most of whom were already working with 1001 because that made sense. Right. And we asked everybody if they wanted to write one. And so I wrote one. I can't remember how many. Dee and I wrote at least one each season. I think I might have written 2 one season. I can't remember. Anyway, we did 2 seasons of it. They were really well done, and we got the people who loved it, but it never took off, which was really unfortunate. I think it was too soap opera and not enough romance for the market that we were marketing it to.
Right.
But it still has a really deep place in my heart. But we never wrote together. We just planned together and wrote the the underlying material, the story Bible basically
Yeah, I
together. So
think-
that was as close to collaboration as I've done.
That can be
And-
the hardest part
yeah.
for me getting started.
Yeah. Now I have written screenplays with a co-writer. I wrote that one I was telling you guys about with a co-writer. And then I wrote one based on one of my books with a co-writer a few years ago that we shopped around. But not a book. I've never done it with a book. I think it would be harder because my process is kind of insane. It's kind of write, kind of think, and then write at the speed of light. Think. I would probably drive someone completely
It
nuts.
depends on, just from all of my experience in doing it, how you kind of set it up from the start and
Mhm.
what works for you and that person, because
Right.
you really have to be in sync, you know, and it has to be something that you can flow and move forward together, not just
Right.
at
Right.
each other. So yeah.
Well,
But
yeah,
good
I didn't want to
question.
put you guys on the spot, but it was a good question. So I
It's a
figured
great
why not?
question. Yeah, it's a great question.
Okay, so let's talk giveaways. It's already
Ooh,
2 minutes till 7. Can you believe it?
Oh my gosh.
I
That
can't
went really
believe it.
fast.
Like, I was looking over there to see what I have. I have like everything. I mean, just yeah, I can do any of the shark books except for number 2. I know I don't have that at my house.
Okay.
Did I tell you what I was giving away? Because I can't remember. But I
I
can give
have
away
it on
some
an email.
We
Let
didn't
me-
advertise it, so you can say whatever you want it to be. Like someone didn't come in here thinking, I'm gonna get this from her.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Are you looking, or do you want me to just pick something?
I'm
can give
looking,
away-
but you can pick whatever you want, but I'm also looking.
Well, why don't I can do Release Me because that one came up. And I
Okay.
can also do 2 if you want. I can do 2 as a package, or I can do 2. And then I have a newish series, which the book that's coming out in February has characters from that series, but it's a standalone, Sinner's Game. So I can actually do the first one from that series, which is My Fallen Saint, which I like it a lot. It's really, Devil and Saint is very cool. It's very steamy, it's suspensey, it's
Yeah,
got lots of drama. It's fun.
nice. I like the suspense element now. Like when we first started Shark, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And it's kind of neat to have it in there.
I like writing suspense. I always have, but I also I was weaned on like movie mysteries and stuff, and reading Agatha Christie in my grandmother's living room.
And I was like Dallas and Dynasty and Knots Landing. And so it was like, I love, billionaire romance. That's great. It's my favorite thing. It's
I
fun.
hadn't thought about that. I kind of grew up with billionaire romance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really thought about that.
Do you know there's a Dynasty on now? My son was talking about it. They said something about Fallon, and I said, Fallon, what are you watching? And it's a reboot of Dynasty.
Really?
Yes. Or not a reboot. Fallon was one of the kids, so it's next generation.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still not gonna watch it, but I couldn't believe it. So did you pick your winners?
We have the winners. Yes. Okay. So for Julie's 2 books, it's Regine.
Nice.
For Victoria, it's Naomi.
All right.
So
Congratulations.
me or Amy will be in touch
Hmm.
with the winners, and then we'll send you the information, Julie. So thank you so much for participating tonight and for the giveaways and all that good stuff.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
coming.
having me. This was super fun, and it went really fast.
I'm glad that you agreed to do it, and it was a nice surprise to see you. I really do not know who's going to be on the screen when it starts, and so I get this like little anxiety right about 5 minutes before we go on. I'm like, oh God, what if I don't know who it is? But I'm surprised how many people I know. It's what's getting crazier. Like, oh, remember when we were?
I know.
You knew
it's
who it
like,
was before I
oh.
introduced her.
Yeah, when you said Stark, I was like, oh, it's Julie.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
cool. This is a great idea, and thanks so much for thinking of me,
Oh,
Megan.
yeah.
And I will see you later, and hopefully I'll see you guys in person,
I
like
know, right?
sometime.
It's going to be
Anyway.
crazy when we all get back in person. It's just going to be crazy. There's
It's
going to
gonna
be
be weird.
wild times because everyone needs to get out.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Take care, and I
All
hope
right.
everyone at your house gets well.
Thanks. I'll see
All
you
right.
guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye. Click.